by a few fractions of a second. Alan, welcome.
Thanks, Lydia. Coming in, flags are raised. Flags are raised, but coming in a bit quick. It extended 2.5 miles, and one of the first ones to show is Ocean Line in the 2 shades of blue, leading from Spirit Mixer on the inside in purple and light blue. Quite handy early on is Temporize, last year's winner in that mauve jacket. Last year's runner-up is just behind him as well. The red sleeves there for Robert Johnson. Red sleeves and cap for Master Milliner, winner of the race 2 years ago, is also in that front group. More towards the inside is Tenerife Sunshine in the orange, taking closer order than is Goolagong in those black sleeves and cap. Then came Natgeist in the light blue. More toward the inside is Prince Imperial, white sleeves and cap. Then the Grand Vizier and Super Jack wider. From Tritonic, the red jacket, the white sleeves. From Colour Lochalsh, and then single to the inside in the green and the pink. And then Get Shirty with Premier Ligne. And the back marker is Tronador. They begin to turn then as they go down towards midway down the far side shortly, and they continue their way up towards halfway. It's Ocean Line who shows the way, leads by about 1.5 lengths. 2 in second to the inside, Tenerife Sunshine. Temporize is next with Natgeist, and then wider is Goolagong. Followed then by Spirit Mixer to the inside of Master Milliner, then Robert Johnson and Prince Imperial. Vino Victrix is towards their outsides. Then Kyle of Lochalsh in the blue and yellow. From the Grand Vizier in the blue and orange, who's running in this race for the 4th time. Tritonic is next, then Super Jack, who's racing down to the inside of those mentioned. Get Shirty, Premier Ligne and Tronador are the back ones. Tronador just about last of all under Silvestre de Souza as they go towards the halfway point and the Coral Goodwood Handicap. And it's Ocean Line who's racing to the inside of Tenerife Sunshine as they begin to head towards Oak Tree Corner. They're racing just in advance then of Temporize and Goolagong. Then came Natgeist and Spirit Mixer and Vino Victrix from Robert Johnson, Master Milliner and the Grand Vizier. Then Kyle of Lochalsh and Prince Imperial, followed 1/2 length away by Tritonic and Super Jack and single. Then Premier Ligne, Get Shirty and Tronador is last of all. On they go towards the final mile. And it's out in front, Ocean Line that continues to show the way. 3/4 of a length over Tenerife Sunshine in second and Goolagong in third. Then came Temporize and Spirit Mixer and Natgeist and Master Milliner. From next Prince Imperial, then Robert Johnson, maroon and white for Vino Victrix, and then Kyle of Lochalsh in the blue and yellow from Super Jack, the light blue silk there with the big white face. Next is Tritonic, and then came single, still towards the back end of the field, Premier Ligne and Tronador and Get Shirty. They begin now to climb the hill and head towards the final 3/4 of a mile shortly. Ocean Line from Tenerife Sunshine to the outside, Spirit Mixer, to the inside of those is Goolagong. Then Temporize, last year's winner, still with every claim. Vino Victrix and Natgeist are the next two from Master Milliner. Then the Grand Vizier and Robert Johnson. Prince Imperial pushed along. Then Super Jack. Trying to get a bit closer now is Tritonic. Then Kyle of Lochalsh, Premier Ligne, Get Shirty, single, and Tronador was last towards this next bend. They begin to head downhill and race towards the final 1/2 mile. And it's Ocean Line, a length leader from Spirit Mixer there in second. Temporize moves up with menace towards the outside. Goolagong in fourth, then Tenerife Sunshine. Master Milliner now tries to play his part. The red sleeves and cap, then Vino Victrix. Super Jack is trying to get closer. Natgeist is under pressure. Tritonic is trying to stay on. Premier Ligne is trying to get going from a mile back. Ocean Line now gave way. Racing towards the final 2.5 furlong. Spirit Mixer now from Temporize. Then Master Milliner back in third from Robert Johnson, and Tritonic is still staying on. Premier Ligne is getting going from a good way back, single, and then Kyle of Lochalsh. On they go towards the final 1.5 furlong, and it's Master Milliner, horse who won this race 2 years ago. He's gone to the front again. Will lead them down towards the final furlong. Premier Ligne, though, is trying hard. Now switching to the inside. Then Kyle of Lochalsh and single staying on inside the final half. It's Master Milliner from Premier Ligne who's trying to get closer, but it's Master Milliner to win this race again. Master Milliner to beat Premier Ligne with single back in third, then Kyle of Lochalsh, Spirit Mixer next in fifth, then Tritonic, Robert Johnson, and the rest headed in by Temporize.
Master Milliner wins this opening race, the Coral Goodwood Handicap, for the 2nd time. And he's done so in splendid isolation there, with Charles Bishop on board for E C Lavelle. Premier Ligne tried to press. He's come from much further back for David Egan and Hughie Morrison. Also towards the rear was Single, the mare, for David Probert and Jack Shannon. Also towards the rear was Kyle of Lochalsh for Billy Loughnane. Meanwhile, Charles Bishop had this horse tracking the early pace, and he is rewarded by getting first run on his most significant rivals, and the horse is returned at 25-1.
Yeah, big pat on the back to E C Lavelle for getting this horse back to his best, because he's clearly had a few issues and not been that straightforward to train, but better than ever here today. And as you say, Charlie Bishop had this horse well placed. He was nice and handy up behind the leaders the whole way, and he's having a little bit of an idle, isn't he? Having a run around in front. He's had to keep Charlie on the ball there. He's had to keep changing his hands and straighten him up a couple of times, but he's won probably a little bit snug in the end. And yeah, it's actually so good to see this horse right back to his best.
It really is. An 8-year-old. Great to see him back in the winners' enclosure. If bookmakers are paying extra places, 5th was Spirit Mixer and 6th Tritonic on that viewing. We talked about how the start can be crucial, and we'll be having a look at the start before reviewing the closing stages of this race. Here it was. A few of them were sort of side on. Get Shirty wasn't particularly helped by their start. Tronador was in the wrong place. Again, Superjacks wasn't in the right place. Up front, though, is the eventual 5th on the inside there, Spirit Mixer, who will soon be headed by Ocean Line, who takes them along. And a few of them out wide. You can see the big white face of the winner, just tracking the early pace.
Yeah, Charlie Bishop was well into stride, and unlike one or two others, he was just able to sit against Master Milliner whilst retaining a nice position. You can see James Doyle there on the rail having to give Tenerife Sunshine a squeeze to go forward, and eventually he does get to the lead and pass Spirit Mixer, but the winner is in a lovely position here, and he's just managed to get the perfect pitch, really.
So here are much later on in the race, and they're bunched up quite nicely at this point. Tenerife Sunshine is travelling a bit more kindly. You can still pick up the winner with his big white face in about 7th, 8th, something like that. Single with the pink cap is right out the back on the inside with the green there. Also towards the back is Premier Ligne. He will make his move a little bit earlier in the straight. And meanwhile, up front, we've still got Spirit Mixer and Ocean Line. The order hasn't really changed a lot, and typically for this race doesn't really change until the straight.
No, at this point, Ashley Murphy aboard Spirit Mixer does apply the pressure slightly to Jason Hart on Ocean Line, and the pace does build. And actually, for a few strides, Master Milliner was a little bit outpaced, and Charlie was just trying to squeeze him back into the bridle. You can see a few that finished well towards the rear. Premier Ligne, I think David Egan was obviously riding this horse to try and stay. It's a mile up in distance, so he's been riding with patience in order to try and see out the trip as best possible. And in fairness, he has stayed well. He got the splits when required, because you can see Single and Kyle of Lochalsh were ridden for a bit of room, whereas David Egan came through the pack and waited for the gaps, which ended up opening really nicely.
And he's probably on a bit of a quicker horse than the other two.
Yep, he's shown a nice turn of foot and stayed, so a deadly combination. At this point, I actually thought he was going to go and win his race, but I think Master Milliner just had a bit more up his sleeve. You can see having a bit of an idle, getting a bit lonely in front. Charlie Bishop's had to straighten him up a couple of times, but I think there's a bit more in the tank than what he's maybe letting on.
Spirit Mixer has managed to rally past Tritonic, who's run well in this race before and showed up again, and Temporize, as last year's winner, has just flattened out from a handy position late on. Here is the winner, Master Milliner, last in this winner's enclosure as a 6-year-old, now back again as an 8-year-old, well positioned by Charles Bishop, and it's a significant success here at the Qatar Goodwood Festival, again for trainer E C Lavelle.